Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? Hope you all can hear me. Let me see what time it was. Just started our video. Cool. Let me see if I can invite others. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I hope you all are having a wonderful Saturday night. So I really wanted to share on my trip to Atlanta last week. I went to Millions Conference and it definitely surpassed my expectations. It was the first conference that I went to where, it was definitely about, the mind. And I say that because usually when I go to conferences, it's for direct spiritual encounter with God, and not that we didn't have that, because we definitely did. But that's usually the primary experience. That's the primary expectation, is that I'm going to have an encounter with God like never before. With Millions Conference, it was, I'm going as an entrepreneur to have a spiritual encounter with God like never before. And that's what made it different. For the last couple of years, I have been, especially when I put out my book 3 years ago, I started, growing in the understanding of how to be a speaker and an entrepreneur, selling my books as an author. And then the second year was more like getting myself in a groove and trying to work from that momentum. And then towards the end of 2022, just had some setbacks, and definitely was looking forward to kind of change trajectory on my business. And then in the beginning of 2023, my husband and I found out that we were expecting our daughter. So that definitely changed how I looked at everything, and it definitely I had to slow down. So by the end of 2023, hold on one second.
She needs a bottle.
Okay, I'll go make one for her. Thank you. By the end of 2023, after having my husband and I, we had our daughter Kayla. She was born in September. So by the end of 2023, I knew I needed a recharge, because I felt like I couldn't hear from God concerning the business and how to get back to the swing of things, regroup. And so the beginning of 2024, I was still trying to hear from God. And when Prophetess Tiffany Montgomery announced that Millions Conference wasn't going to be, she's usually had it in April, later, March, April-ish. But she announced that it was going to be the end of February, but I still felt led to go. So, needless to say, it was challenging in that sense of having less time, because she had it in April last year. I had already made personal plans to go in April. So her announcing that she was going to have it on leap year, on the 29th of February, I was freaking out. But God was like, you still need to go. So I went. And I have to tell you, getting to Atlanta that Thursday, I missed my flight. When they, booked me for the next flight, there's issues with that. So they actually had to reroute my entire trip, because it was a connecting flight from Logan. Originally it was from Logan to Charlotte, and then from Charlotte to Atlanta, because I flew American Airlines. But it was from Logan to DC, and then from DC to Atlanta. And so afterwards, getting to Atlanta that day, that Thursday, was very tough. And I also traveled with Kayla, our 5-month-old. And that part wasn't challenging, but it was just the urgency of everything and moving so quick, and then having connecting flights, being rerouted, traveling with her on my baby carrier, having the car seat. It was just a lot, right? So by the time I get to Atlanta, then getting a rental at the airport, getting to our hotel, I was like, whew. And it was by then probably like 5, 6, 7 o'clock, right? By the time we got settled. So Friday morning, I wake up bright and early. Me and Kayla, we get ready. We head to the Hyatt Regency Hotel, which we weren't too far from because it was on Peachtree Street. We weren't too far from it where I stayed. And so we got there in time. I walk in and I was like, you know what, Lord? I came to this conference by myself. It was the first time that I traveled to anywhere by myself and I wasn't meeting anyone there. Or I was traveling by myself and like it was just the first time I was traveling by myself and like I had no one that I was going to encounter, or I wasn't traveling with someone or a companion. So it was different for me in that sense. And I said to God, I said, you know, Lord, if I see no one I know at Millions conference, that's okay, because I didn't come here for that. I came here to receive from you what I need and to get that boost and to get the word and whatever it is you have for me in the strategy so that I can be obedient and get back to the swing of things. So I immediately go inside. Once we get myself and Kayla, we get inside the hotel. We get into the lobby where the line is to get into the ballroom for the conference for day 2. And because I traveled on day 1, because I missed my flight, I missed all of day 1, right? Because had I not missed my flight, I would have been able to get there in the second portion of day 1, right? So day 2, I'm walking into the ballroom and I'm not anticipating to see anybody, right? I run into one of my really close college friends from one of my close friends from college, Brenda and her husband, and I was like, hi Brenda, and she was like, oh my gosh, Esther. And so that by itself was like God smiling on me and letting me know like I'm not alone, right? And then we sit down and the man of God that spoke, the first phrase that came out of his mouth was, this time it's going to work. And I was like, thank you, sir. You know what? I got what I needed to get. What I came here for, I received. Thank you. Because whatever was on me broke immediately. I immediately started to shed tears because I needed to hear that. Because in the entrepreneurship journey, it can get very tiresome, especially if you've never done it before. Especially if you don't have anyone that, you know, close family, close friends that is doing exactly what you're doing. So you don't necessarily have a blueprint you can follow. And even if you do have someone that you can look up to, a mentor, someone that's gone before you in your realm of in where you're trying to grow your business, your journey is still going to be different, right? And because of that, it's been a pretty lonely ride in that sense, right? But I firmly believe that all the strategies that I got from Millions Conference, usually, like I've said at the beginning, usually when I go to a conference where I know I'm going to meet God and I'm going to have a special encounter, a sweet encounter with him, you know, you feel the heavy presence of God in the sense of like his presence come down, his glory comes down, and it's great. This was different. You felt all of that, and you also felt the level of seriousness and the soberness of the moment of the day, that we are responsible as entrepreneurs to do the work, to not give up. Right? And so it was such a different feel, but it was so needed. And I mean, I clung to every word, to every speaker. And by the time I left Millions Conference, I genuinely felt that relief and that motivation and that urge in my spirit that I needed. The bottom line was be obedient, follow God's instructions, and follow the instructions that God gave you specifically for your business. For those who are not, and Prophetess Tiffany Montgomery said this, and I do firmly believe this, that even those who have a 9-to-5, if you're not called to be an entrepreneur, that everyone should have a side hustle. And the reason why I believe that is the way this economy is turning and twisting. I genuinely believe that even if your income is enough, it's not enough. Because should something happen and you're not able to sustain, you need the ability to fall on something, right? People experience layoffs during the pandemic, right? Even if you tap into your savings, you have to find a way to replenish it, right? So it's a lot that goes into just having your income, even if it's more than enough. Just having your income as a source of living may not be enough. So I do believe that everyone should have a side hustle. I'm a firm believer in that. Another takeaway from me was sharpening my character and growing and maturing as a person and growing in a level of excellence and trying the things that I don't want to try. And also going back to social media, which is the other issue that I've always had an issue with social media, because I'm a lurker. I like to laugh. I like to go on, and especially Instagram. And I like to, laugh. I like to lurk. I like to see what everyone's doing. And I'm okay if I don't post. I'll post about my kids all day. I'll post about my husband, my family all day. But I'm not really like a crazy poster. Like, oh, hey, man, I'm out here. Like, it's not my thing. So even when I wrote my book, Strong Bond, Bright Future, even when I wrote my book, I had an incredibly difficult time getting on social media and being consistent. Although I did it well, I cringed every time. So one of the takeaways was using social media, and that is an outlet that God has given us in order for us to acquire wealth, right, as content creators. And so that definitely was another takeaway. And the third takeaway was that God has something special for me. And what He has for me may not be what He has for you. But we have to allow the Holy Spirit to give us the strategy, and we have to partner with Him in order to get from our status now to the next level status, to the millionaire status, to multi-millionaire, right? Some of us may be real estate. Some of us may be, speaking. Some of us may be, apparel, right? Selling t-shirts and things of that nature. Some of us, it might be all of it. But whatever we're called to do, that strategy is what we need to use and utilize. And only the Holy Spirit has that instruction for us. So I definitely want to share, because I'm being obedient by going live, and going and making an effort to go live daily, making an effort to get back to social media and have a presence, bring my presence back there, and get back to where I left off. So I hope you all have a good night. Just want to share my experience with you all, and take care. Bye-bye. I don't even know how to turn this on. Let's see.